Testing. Testing. Where are we at? Where are we at? All right, perfect. Test the audio with a blow of the nose. Welcome to another Hoopo stream. This is going to be a coding stream, so we're just going to be kind of hacking about. If you're here for some paper reading, you're going to have to wait for tomorrow. Okay, let me make sure this works here. Looking good here. Alrighty. So we're going to be working in this repo today. Hoopo Paperbot. So this is a little robot, or a little Discord bot, I guess, that basically communicates on the Discord. So this is the Discord. There's a channel here. It's called Bot Debug. And when I run this, it runs on the channel. So a couple different dependencies for this little Discord bot. We got Palm, which is Bard. We got, let me make this a little bit bigger. So we got Bard, which is the Palm API, Discord, Archive, and then, of course, ChatGPT. Licketh P, hello, can you give me a few ideas to research on about video editing? So, video editing, probably, honestly, the drag GAN stuff. So, you've probably already heard about it, but this is drag GAN. This is a paper that we read on the stream, and it's probably one of the better kind of video. It's not video editing, it's picture editing. So, but if you take this and then figure out how to make it work for video, I think that's a huge potential application. Probably get a ton of virality from that if that's what you're interested in. They said they were going to release the code, but they still have not released the code. So you can see here, if we go onto their GitHub repo 2 weeks ago, and there's nothing there. So, but the technique isn't super difficult. So if you kind of just read the paper, it should be fairly straightforward to make something similar. And I feel like I'm already seeing versions of this. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but DragGAN AI editing tool. Yeah, here you go. Boom. So someone already, literally 4 days ago, whoever this is, someone made a little tool and it's already released. So if you had the idea of having a startup based on this, you're already competing with whoever this guy is. Cloud Booklet. Improving temporal stability and coherence of generated frames is a good research direction. Yeah, basically, the fundamental problem with video right now is that every single technique treats video as a series of frames, of which it is, right? Video, the way that video exists right now is it's basically just a bunch of frames, or if it's encoded, usually there's basically like frames and then kind of like a tail of differences to the original frame. But video as a format is just not very well suited for this problem of temporal consistency, because fundamentally you're just applying 2D techniques to what is really a 3D kind of stot thing, right? Where you have the pixel height width and then you have the time. Really it's 4D because there's channel in there as well. Okay, we're getting distracted here, but I think first things first, let me actually just run this, see if it works. No file path provided for local DB. Okay, so we need to get a DB file path. So I'm making a local database, which is where we're going to be storing all the information that this bot talks to. And, you know, really you could use something like SQLite is what I would have used before. This is kind of basically like a little mini database that you can run on your computer, and you can talk to it in Python. But I eventually want to do a vector database, but for now I'm literally just using polars, which is kind of like pandas, and then just opening a CSV file and then just writing into that. So no file path provided if file path is none. Opens paper.csv. If not, okay, I don't know exactly where this is failing. Let me put a little breakpoint here. Okay, it's breaking right here. Got an unexpected argument columns. I think that data frame, data schema, sequence of pairs, a list of column names. So actually the Quarg, this is kind of the annoying part about using polars instead of pandas, is that whenever you use polars, right, GitHub Copilot thinks that we're using pandas, but we're not. We're using polars. So some of these automatically generated things are going to be incorrect. All right, so we got Paperbot, and Paperbot has entered the chat. All right, and then when you actually send a message, it'll actually go and run this code here. So let me send something. Hello, Paperbot. You see, and it calls this onMessage function, right? And I took a little bit of inspiration from the Minecraft paper. So in the Minecraft paper that we read earlier in the week, they're basically doing reinforcement learning entirely with LLMs. And I'm going to be doing something similar here. So let me make this a little bit bigger. Can I like zoom in more? I guess that's the max. But I'm using the LLM to determine what step to take. So when you actually send a message, I'm going to take your message and I'm going to send it to ChatGPT or Palm, one of those two, and I'm going to ask ChatGPT, you are Paperbot, determine which behavior the user wants to run. Do not explain, return the name of the behavior only. The available behaviors are, and then I give it a list of behaviors. Right, so this is really weird. This is a really weird flow for code, but I think more and more and more, this is what reinforcement learning is going to look like. So first things first, I want to get rid of self.get channel paper sources. Okay, maybe it's a chat behavior. Let's see what actually, if you give it that message, it'll probably say chat. So if we keep going here, successfully resumed, do wait suspend. Okay, I think it died. Let's try to rerun it here. Let's come here. Rerun again. Get here. It's going to say Paperbot has entered the chat. Oh, wait up. Something changed. I think I might have accidentally put something here. Get channel send emoji has entered the chat. None type has no attributes send. Did I accidentally delete something? What the fuck happened? Why polars instead of pandas? So polars is way faster. We did a comparison on an earlier stream, but polars is basically pandas, but way faster. So right now I'm just using it as a kind of naive local database where I basically open up a CSV file, I store information in it, and then I can pull information from it. But eventually you would want to replace this class here with an actual database. I guess you need to add checks. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing here, right? So hello, Paperbot. Want to chat? So when I send this, it'll say, okay, you got this message. Send that to GPT. Behaviors. Oh, I see. This is the problem, is you need to say at Paperbot. So now we say at Paperbot, hello. Okay, so now it received the message. The message contains Paperbot. I have been mentioned. So Paperbot's like, okay, someone mentioned me. I'm going to send this to ChatGPT. It's going to say pick one of the behaviors. ChatGPT is going to pick the behavior. The behavior that ChatGPT picked is chat. So look at that. Look at how good this is. I sent it the message, and then I said, here are all the different behaviors you can pick from. Pick one of these 4. And it picked chat. Right, which is pretty good. That's pretty next level. So it's like, okay, I'll run the chat behavior. The chat behavior right now is basically nonsense, but here, let's add something here. Let's actually, what do we want to do? We want to say, it's going to be similar to this. We're going to basically use GPT. So response, let's do something like this. Copy paste this in here. We're going to say response. We're going to say you are Paperbot. Respond to the user's message. And then we give it the message content. Then we just send the response. All right. So close out of that. Rerun it. Clear all these breakpoints. Paperbot has entered the chat at Paperbot. How are you doing? It should say chat, and then it should respond. It did not. Okay. Logging in. Logged in as Paperbot. Oh, that's right. We have to say Paperbot. At Paperbot. Hello. Is it even getting to here? Let's see. There's going to be a lot of moving around here, and I apologize, so feel free to ask questions. Paperbot, hello. On message, await self.action behavior message. Okay, so you see the problem here is that these functions should not be inside this class. Let's get rid of these. So I'm going to pull these out and put them outside of this class, because these are basically async functions. I don't want these inside the actual bot object, this Discord client object. There we go. Like that. Hit the shift tab to make them at the master level here. Let's get rid of the self Korg. They're going to receive a message, and they're going to receive a channel, which is going to be a Discord text channel object. Then we take that, and whenever we say this channel.send here, we just replace this with that. We're also going to need a database object, so let's go ahead and do that as well. DB, this is going to be a local DB object, and this is going to return none. So here I'm just adding types to these arguments, and because these arguments don't have an equal sign like this, they're called args instead of quargs. It means that they're required. You have to provide them in order for this message or this function to work. So this is the add paper function. This is not necessarily the one we care about, but let's go ahead and copy this message here and use it for this chat function. And then we'll do channel. Okay, and that means that whenever we actually call this function, these are no longer properties of this object. So you see here how we said self.addPaper, but because we pulled these outside of this class, we got to delete that. So now they're just free-floating functions. And then once we're here, you see how I'm passing message, but really I should be passing more than that. I need to pass message, I need to pass get channel, and I need to pass the database object. Okay, let's do that. Let's rerun it. ChatGPT has entered the chat at Paperbot. Hello. Okay, what do we got here? Ignoring exception in on message, function, chat, behavior, run event. What is going on here? Let's put a little message right there. It says running behavior, function, chat at that. So I think this print needs to be right here actually, so we can actually figure out what the fuck is going on. Chat, and you give it the message, you give it the channel, and you give it the database. All right, breakpoint is there. Kalina, maybe system prompt should be a bit more descriptive, like incentivize GPT to respond like a bookworm. Yeah, something like that. That's a good idea. All right. Paperbot has entered the chat. Is that this one? Yep. Let's say at Paperbot, hello. This is kind of repetitive, but this is kind of what coding looks like. Okay, so the behavior that it decided is the chat behavior, running behavior, chat. Okay, so you see this is the problem, is that self.actions.behavior, it's using the key to get the behavior from the list of actions, but the key is a string, and what we're passing to it here is not a string. This is a function, so we need to replace this with the actual name. So we're going to go ahead and rename this to behavior name so that this is very clearly a string, and then that string is here. So we're going to say that. We're going to call this behavior name, and then we're going to say behavior name. And actually, we don't even need to do that. We can just do this. We can say await behavior. Okay. A little bit of debugging for you guys. That's how it works over here. Let's rerun it. We should see that Paperbot has entered the chat. At Paperbot, hello. Await the behavior. Hit the next, hit the next, hit the next, hit the next, hit the next. All right, now we're inside the chat behavior. So next, 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 next. The response is being created. The response is, hello, how can I assist you today? If we hit next here, it should pop up in the Discord. Perfect. All right, there you go. Hello, how can I assist you today? All righty, so Kalina, more descriptive. So you want us to add something here. Respond to you are Paperbot. A knowledgeable or a helpful helpful scientist, I guess, bot that organizes papers. Okay, and then why don't why don't we actually allow the user to specify whether they want GPT or Palm. So let's call this GPT chat. And then let's have another one, and we're going to call it Palm chat. So you guys can use both of those there. Palm chat. Okay, so Palm chat is going to take the same arguments, but instead of using the GPT API, we're going to use the Palm API, which is the Google one. And I think all we have to do is Palm text here, and then give it the prompt. I think if we go into this generate text, what do we need? We need prompt, freeform input text. The model will generate text that completes the input text. A list of unique safety settings, stop sequences. I think that the way this Palm text works, you have to basically add the prompt. So it's a slightly different API, but it's going to be very, very similar. So we have paper, GPT chat, Palm chat. Let's do this. This is now going to be Palm text, and our prompt is going to be this. So we're going to say system equals that. Then we're going to say prompt equals system plus message content. So just accounting for the fact that the Palm API is slightly different from the ChatGPT API. The ChatGPT API has that system prompt, but Palm API does not. So we'll just do that. Put that there. Respond to the user's message. This is the user's message. Let's kill this. Here, let's add this behavior. So let's say Palm chat, and then we'll have Palm chat, and then GPT chat. Okay. Let's run it. Okay. Has entered the chat at Paperbot. Can I talk to ChatGPT? And the behavior that it chose is GPT chat. That's correct. Keep going. We don't actually need this anymore. Hello, as a paper organizing bot, I'm not able to facilitate conversations with chatbot like GPT. However, I can little does it know it is GPT. At Paperbot, what does Palm think about paper reading? All right, so the behavior that it chose is now Palm chat. So you see that? Look at that. The LLM is really good at picking from a list of possible behaviors. So the LLM can pick what function to run, right? The LLM is acting as kind of the router into our little API, if you want to think of it that way, of behaviors. So if we go with this. Okay, it's sent it. Permissions, access token, scope insufficient. Okay, so Google API, we don't have the right token, I guess. Request has insufficient authentication scopes. All right, so I can sit here and fuck with Google keys and figure out why this isn't working, or I can say this. I'm going to say there's GPT chat, there's Palm chat, but then there's also just going to be chat, and chat is just going to go straight to GPT chat. Okay. All right, so now that we have this chat behavior, let's also make this actually more paper behavior. So add paper and paper sources. So your Paperbot, let's do this. Let's find a link for a paper. Do I have Chrome somewhere? Here's Chrome. Perfect. I'll actually move this here. Let's go to a random archive link. Or actually, why don't we just get one of these from the paper thing here? Let's get this one here. This Kayezi sent this. So let's copy that. Let's go into the bot debug. We're going to keep a breakpoint here so we know what behavior it's calling, but then let's also go to the actual paper, add paper behavior, and we'll go here. Okay. So let's run this. Then we come in here, we should see the @paperbot has entered the chat. There you go. Then @paperbot, can you add this paper? Boom. Okay, so what behavior did it pick? It picked the add paper behavior. How about this prompt? You are a paper bot which keeps a library of machine learning papers. You are knowledgeable about ML, neural networks, and AI. All right, let's do that. Let's keep it. Actually, you know what's even better? So I'm going to go up here to the very top of this file. And at the very top of this file, I have like a global scope variable here that is basically the emoji that it's going to use, or the emoji that it identifies with. So let's also do a kind of heuristic, or like IM. And let's put that there. So let's see. You are Paperbot. You know about ML, AI, CS. You are good at explaining and suggesting literature. Okay. So now we can take this I am and replace it in our contexts. So let's replace it here. And also replace it here. I don't know if we necessarily need it here, because here all it's doing is it's picking out of a list of the actions. You see, so I don't think we need it right there. If we keep going here, you see we passed it the message. This is what the message looks like. It says, can you add this paper? And there's an archive link. So it finds the paper. Column not found ID. Okay. So it is finding the paper. It's just whenever it tries to add the paper here, it can't find it. Okay, so we need to basically come here, put a breakpoint right there, and see where this airs out. You know what's even crazier? I'm pretty sure if we run this, we should see the Paperbot has entered the chat. Let's just only paste the archive link. So if someone comes in here and just says @Paperbot archive link, look at that. It decides to execute the paper sources behavior. Okay, so the paper sources behavior is, where's the paper sources? Self.get. Okay, paper sources, we still haven't changed this into the new format that we made, so let's go ahead and do that. So this needs to use the channel, and then also this sources, we shouldn't put it at this level, we should put it at this level. Let's go up to the top of this function here, I am, then we'll say sources. Okay. Where's that sources behavior? I'm kind of all over the place. This is kind of how I program as well. Yeah, GPT-4 API. Like whenever I'm programming, it's like there's like 10 different things that I'm doing simultaneously, and it's like I'm trying to do one thing, but then I discover this other thing, and then I work on that other thing, and then when that's done, I go back to the original thing. So it can be a little bit confusing. So feel free to ask questions about what I'm doing, the method I'm doing, how I'm doing, what I'm thinking about, what I want to do, and so on. I'm still trying to figure out the correct way to do these paper streams. Or not paper streams, coding streams. Because it can be a little bit weird. Okay, so if you want this paper sources behavior, actually let's call this list sources. Just so, let's hit F2 to rename. We're going to call it list sources. Should get the @paperbot. Okay. Let's copy this. Copy. @paperbot. All right, so what behavior did it pick? It picked the add paper behavior. Okay, so that's pretty good. If someone just sends just the archive link, it goes and it chooses the right behavior. It chooses the add paper behavior. Okay, so if we go from there, it comes into here. Here is the actual content of the message. Now it did the get paper. It found the paper. The ID is this. What is this data frame though? So let's actually look at what this data frame object is. Self.df. Self.df right now has title, URL, authors, and published. Okay, so this is the problem, is that we need an ID column. So let's come up here and let's say ID. And ID is going to be one of the columns, so that when it gets created, it makes that column, and then whenever we do this, we do that. Okay, now let's rerun it. Yeah, I am using the archive API, so this is the archive API, right? So I have a function here called find paper, and find paper uses regex to basically pull out the archive link, and then when it pulls out the archive link, it'll use the archive API right here, and it'll get you an object. And this object here, this paper object, right? This paper object has a bunch of properties, and those properties include the title, the PDF URL, the authors, the publish date, and so on. So yeah, that's what it is using. Okay. @paperbot. There you go. Let's send that. Why does sometimes it doesn't work? That's a little weird. Have you guys noticed that? Like sometimes it feels like it just doesn't do anything. @paperbot. The fuck? Try to rerun it again. @paperbot. Okay, there we go. What behavior did it pick? It picked the add paper behavior. All right, let's keep going. It uses the find papers inside message.content. The first paper that it found is this one. The ID is 2305, whatever. This shouldn't error out anymore. It has errored out. Cannot convert Python class string to float 32. Okay, so I think we need this schema object here probably needs types, right? So let's actually see this. A dictionary of names and types pairs. Okay, so we should need to change our schema into these. I assume this data type object is probably a panda or a polar specific construct. Yeah, so you basically need to have polars.datatypes, and then here are all the different data types. So if you guys remember from yesterday's stream, you remember all the different precisions for the data types here. So here are unsigned integer that fits in 32 bits, unsigned integer that fits in 8 bits. You have 64-bit floats, but we don't actually want any of these. We want a string. Is there a single string data type in here? Sometimes strings are defined as lists of characters, but I don't really want a list of characters because that's gross. Let's see if Bard or GPT knows. Bard. Reset chat. What is the data type for a string in polars? Where will this bot be hosted? This bot right now is just hosted on this computer. Eventually I could host it on just some computer I have lying around. If I wanted to make it more legit, I would go to AWS or one of these like cloud services and then basically spin up a server there that would be dedicated, but that's probably not what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to just run it on my local computer. Okay, the data type for a string in polars is UTF-8. It is a UTF-8 encoded string type. Here's how to create a UTF-8 column. Okay, but then that means that we're going to have to compare. That's kind of annoying. Okay. But it is this one. So we should be able to say up here the schema. We're going to change the schema to a dictionary. This dictionary is going to have keys that are strings, and then the pd.datatype. So you see it's going to be a dictionary where you have keys for the strings, or the keys are strings, and then the values are PD data types. So let's go ahead and make this a dictionary. Let's move that there, move this here. Let's go ahead and start indenting this bad boy here. ID, this is going to be a string. I think this is where we have to put the UTF PD.UTF-8. Pretty much all of these are going to be UTF-8s. Except for the author, which is going to be a PD list of PD UTF-8s. Published is a PD datetime. There's no datetime object. So I guess UTF-8 as well. And that's it. Okay. This is no longer called self.columns. This is now called self.schema. Let's go ahead and format. So in VS Code, you can always, oh my God, you can always click. And then hit format document, and that'll auto format just so you don't have to spend time linting. And let's run it. Paperbot has entered the chat. At Paperbot, send it that. There you go. The behavior that it chose is add paper. That's correct. Run it. It's finding the papers. It's getting the paper. Let's see if we can do this comparison, because I think part of the issue might be that the comparison is not going to be possible here. So ID is a string here. Let's see what this ID, that should be a string, so we should be able to do that. All right, cannot get item on data frame with item shape 0. I think what we need is if length of data frame is 0, just return none, right? And then here we say match. And then if length of match is 0, return none. Else return match at iLock. And I think this is actually, for example, when I was saying before that Copilot is not going to be correct because it thinks that we're using pandas, but I don't know if iLock exists in polars, so that might result in an error. But let's put a breakpoint here. Let's run this. At Paperbot, let's put this link here. The behavior is list sources. Oh, that's weird. That's non-deterministic. So it decided that now it needs to call this list sources behavior, which is not necessarily what we wanted. Running behavior list sources. Okay, so you see this is the list source behavior where it just listed a bunch of sources. This is kind of gross. Remove all embeds. Yeah, I need to make the set temperature 0. So let's go to this GPT text function, and there is a temperature parameter here. So let's make the default temperature 0 and the default max tokens 32. Actually, why don't we pull those out? Let's put it up here. Let's make some global variables. We'll call this max tokens 64, and then temperature, say 0. And then we'll set these inside the actual quargs here. I think the Palm text also has a notion of temperature. Max tokens. Let's make sure. Let's look into the Palm API. Top P. Yeah, it does have a temperature parameter as well, so let's add that in there. And this is a little bit more annoying. We have to, this is kind of unusual, like setting the default value of a quark parameter to the globally scoped variable. Not necessarily a great idea, but you know. All right, Paperbot has entered the chat. Let's message it again at Paperbot, and then let's link to it the archive link. All right, what behavior did it pick? It picked add paper, which is the correct behavior. Maybe Palm text and GPT text should have more tokens there for chatting after all. Yeah, I want to limit the number of tokens because at some point I'm going to let this bot just sit here and you guys can talk to it, and I have a feeling people are going to try to abuse it and then make it say very long things, and then I'm going to wake up to a $200 OpenAI API bill. So I'm just being careful. Okay, so it's in the find paper. It gets the paper. It's fine. It's finally getting to the add paper. So it found the paper. It created this. It used the archive result, or it used the archive API to create this paper object. Unfortunately, right now it says none. So that's not good. It basically add paper, get paper, add paper, paper. You see, here's the problem, is that when it gets the paper, it overwrites this variable. So this variable gets overwritten here. So let's do this. And what is this add paper going to return? Add paper should return nothing, so here we actually do this. Okay. Let's run it. Behavior. Add paper, that's the correct behavior. Find the paper, it's fine. Here we have the correct paper object. So it should add that to it. Data frame has no attribute append. Okay, so let's modify this. Let's copy this. Let's go into our Bard and we'll say reset chat. And we'll say, can you modify this? Let's put it over here so you guys can see. This Python function such that it adds this row of information to a polars data frame. Here is the function. And then we use these little triple comma things. So let's see how it rewrites it. I think basically there's no dot append, but you create a row and then you dot append the row. Okay, this is probably no good. It still thinks that you can append to a polars. Let's do polars add a row. Is there not an append? There is no append. So how do I like add to a data frame in polars? Rechunk, pipe, melt, limit, iter, slice. Maybe if I go into the actual thing here. So this is a pandas pd.dataframe. What functions exist? pl.dataframe, pl.dataframe. Is there literally no example of how to just add a fucking column to this? Constructing a data frame from dix, from pydf, from dict, from records, from numpy, from arrow, from pandas, read csv. Let's see if I can find an append function in here. Pandas set item. Write database. Write a polars frame to a database. Ooh, that's kind of cool. You can actually just directly write to SQL databases, so that's going to be easy to. Will append to an existing table. Write delta. Join ASOF. Oh shit, you might have to like join in a SQL-like fashion. So you can join another data frame. So we could create a different data frame and then join. But I feel like that's going to be gross. I just want to add a column to the data frame. Let's see. Polars add row to data frame. Cell indexing. You see there's no iloc here. You just index directly. Common operations. Assign. You can assign a new column. You can add a new column. You can add multiple new columns. Dude, what? Why is it so hard to figure out how to literally add a column to it? That seems like it should just be easy. VStack. Yeah. But that's what we were saying before, is you have to basically make another data frame and then add it to it. So basically, all right, we'll do that. We'll do that. We'll go here. We'll say new or underscore df, just because it's a temporary variable. We'll make a data frame. The data frame will have that. We don't need this ignore index. We might have to say from dict or something like that. We'll see if it actually works. And then we'll say pd self.df equals self.df.vstack. Grow this frame vertically by stacking a data frame to it in place, or yeah, so actually you would do this of underscore df. Let's put that there. We got our breakpoint. We don't really need this breakpoint anymore because we already have seen it plenty of times. Let's run it. Let's go back here. Paperbot has entered the chat. Copy. Paste. Behavior is add paper. That's correct. All right. We're in the meat of it. Let's see if this call works. I'm not even entirely sure this call is going to work. Let's put a breakpoint here and run it again. Okay, let's see what that data frame object we just created is. Oh, you see, look at this. So it created a data frame, but because the authors, it basically made an entry for every single author, which is no good. Okay, so this PD list here, we probably need to convert this here into a PD list. So nested type, inner, polars data type. Can I create a list? Can I do this? PD list like that. Let's try running that. Make a string with all the authors, like a comma separated string. Yeah, if this doesn't work, we'll do that. That's actually that's a good idea. Cannot infer D type. Yeah, okay. Fuck that. We're gonna do what you suggested. We're gonna make this a comma dot join of author dot name for author in paper dot authors, and then here in the thing we're gonna get rid of this crap here. We're gonna make this another UTF-8. So the authors is just a comma separated list of strings. Okay. If we close out of that, rerun it, copy, paste. Behavior is add paper. That's correct. It's adding. Let's see what this underscore df is. Underscore df. That's good. Look at that. We got the ID, title, we got URL, we got authors, and we got published. Perfect. Okay, so hopefully this VStack works. Let's see. Okay, it seems like it works. So if we hit next, works fine. Okay, so let's make a little function here in our database, and let's call it list. Define list papers. And let's literally return self.df, but let's actually return the string of that, right? And let's add that as a behavior. So Palm Chat, GPT Chat, list sources. Let's say list papers. And that's going to call the list papers function, which we need to write. So we have the list sources, we have the add papers. Let's also do a async def list papers. And there you go. Look at that. Look how easy ChatGPT Copilot makes this. Like, I don't even write code anymore. I'm just basically like tab completing everything. Okay, let's run it. And Paperbot has entered the chat. Okay, we'll do this, and then it should add that. The behavior is now add paper. That's correct. And then it adds the paper. We can get rid of these breakpoints. It's telling us I added the paper. All right, so now let's say add Paperbot list. Could you list the papers for me? All right, let's see what behavior it picked. It picked list papers, which is correct. And then if I hit next, there it is. All right. I wonder how weird I can make it. Paperbot, I want to see all the papers. Can you help me? So I'm trying to see if I only use the word paper, but I don't use the word list, will it choose the right behavior? And I'm not entirely certain that it will. You see, look at that. That's pretty good. So I was afraid that it might have picked the add papers behavior, but it didn't. It picked list papers. So that's good. Okay. This is kind of gross. There's probably some way to format this so that it looks nice on a fucking Discord. How can I... Actually, fuck that. I don't really care about it looking nice, you know? So... let's see, what else can we do here? Yeah, that life is easier. Well, actually, one thing that is more difficult is that even though synthesis is easier, I still think debugging is important. So, all right. I think one thing we can do is we can say, I had some ideas. I had a journal with ideas that we could do for this. I'm going to quickly pull this up. I wrote down some things of what we can do on the stream. All right. Add chat behavior, reduce max tokens, generate embedding for title and do a title similarity search. That's something we could do. Choose which LLM to use, auto-generate tags, add columns for person who recommended it, date recommended, time since recommended, etc. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do kind of like a tag abstract kind of situation going on here. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that when you have this archive paper object, there's also a abstract. Okay, so whenever we're adding to this local DB here, I think you can do a abstract paper.summary.replace. Okay, perfect. Let's add the abstract up here. Abstract is also going to be a string. When we add the paper, why don't we use ChatGPT to tell us basically a summary? So let's say, let's have up here whenever we have this add function, we're going to say tags equals GPT chat. And actually the one we want is GPT text. So let's actually copy paste that. Here we go. This is what we want. We want this. So we're going to copy paste this here. And we're going to say you are Paperbot. You summarize or create a comma separated list of tags for this paper. Here is the abstract for the paper. And then we also have to make sure to tell it, do not explain, only provide tags. Do not explain, only provide the string tags. Okay, and then the paper here, let's do the prompt is going to be the paper dot summary. I don't know why it wants to replace this dash new with this. I don't know if you necessarily need that. I think you can just do that. But all right, either way, you get the tags. Tags should be a string. And let's go ahead and save these tags here. Can archive provide abstract? Yeah, here's the abstract. I think it's the paper.summary. All right, and we're going to need to add the tags here as well. So abstract and then tags. pd.utf8. And then we need to make a function that updates the PDF or the local database here. So let's do a function here. We're going to make a function and we're going to call it save. And let's save this file path, cv.filepathos. Let's save it as a actual property of this object. So we're going to say self.filepath equals filepath. And then anytime we use filepath, we'll use this object or this property that we just created, this filepath property. So self.filepath, scroll down, get rid of this. We don't need that. We're already doing that inside the init. And let's save. It doesn't like this to CSV. Also doesn't like this iLock. Just return the data frame. And then here to CSV. Let's go to pullers. Let's search CSV. Nothing. Let's search API reference. Search. What is the CSV function called in pullers? Input output CSV. It's called read CSV, scan CSV, and then it's called write CSV. And write CSV takes a file path to which the, okay, so we need to go back here and it's going to be called write CSV. And this is really kind of annoying that you have to basically use different functions here, but index equals false. Is that also a quarg in there? That is not a quarg, so let's get rid of this index equals false. All right, let's run this. Okay, Paperbot has entered the chat. Let's send it this paper. Actually, let's send it 2 papers. So let's do this paper and then let's find a different paper. Let's go to the papers channel here. Let's copy paste another one of these random ass papers. This one here. Maybe this one. From Freon. You guys feel free to contribute more papers if you want. So we're going to give it a list of papers here. It didn't do anything again. That's kind of like, I think this is the Discord Python API, but sometimes it just doesn't, it doesn't even seem to reply. Okay, Paperbot has entered the chat. Copy. Paste. The fuck? What the shit? At Paperbot. Why does it do that? All right, behavior name, get the behavior name. The behavior name is add paper. That's correct. It's going to call the add paper. Found paper, AR diffusion. It added it. It added the second paper. Now it's trying to get the paper. False. Cannot get item on data frame with shape 1. Okay, so this line right here, line 218, it really doesn't like this. I think this is how you do it in Python, or not Python, in Pandas, but I think there's a better way to find a specific item in a find IDX by name, find IDX by name. Name of the column to find, that's not what I want. I want finding a specific row based on the value at a specific column. Replace, rename. What about just .get? I want polars.dataframe.get. Column, get column, list, get. No, that's not what I want. I want get column, get frame head height duplicate is unique item. Row. Get the values of a single row either by index or by predicate. Yep, this is what I want. Okay, perfect. Row 2, row by predicate. Boom. This is what we want. So let's copy paste this. Let's come here. This is what we're going to need to do. We're going to say match equals, we're going to say self.dataframe.row by predicate, and in this case we want the df self.df.column ID is the name of the column, and the name of the column, why is this not? It's a pl.call, I guess. pd.call. And the value of that column should be ID. Okay. So let's do that. And let's run it. Chap, it should have said Paperbot is here. Paperbot has entered the chat. Hello, Paperbot. Chew on that. Behavior name, add paper. That's good. Continue. It added the paper. Okay. Added the first paper, added the second paper. Found paper, found paper. Okay, so now this is the part that it should be correct. Let's actually just take this line right here and see what we get when we run it. Predicate returned, no rows returned error. So what is pd.call ID? Polars expression object. So this is fake news is basically what they're saying here. Specify named equals true. Instead with a mapping of column names to row volumes. Use by predicate to return the row that matches the given predicate. Is the name of this wrong? Is there not, is it not ID? I'm pretty sure ID is the right thing. ID, PDF UTF-8. Returned no rows. Okay, so here's what we need to do. Let's make sure that this actually is correct by passing in the ID of the one that we do know is correct. So if we say self.df, right, we know that this one should be there. So if we paste this and then we copy this ID from right here and say, should there be one where the ID is 2305.09515v2? Yes, okay, so it did get that. If we actually get the type of that, it's a tuple. Okay, so what's the type of the 0th element? It's a string, and then the type of the first element is a string. What is the first element? So that's the title. And then what's the 0th element? What's the third element? Okay. So you see, it's going to return a tuple, but that tuple is basically the entire row, which is not great because you're losing the columns, right? So I think what we want to do here is we want to put this inside a try catch. So let's put a try catch here. We're going to try, we're going to say match, we're going to say accept, and there was a specific error that this threw, right? What was the error that this threw? This threw a no rows returned error. So we got to say accept pd.errors, and we call it a no row returned error. So let's copy that. Let's put that in there. Row, it's not there. That's not good whenever it can't find it. Exceptions. pd.no row, no data error, column not found error. We're going to have to import this directly. Let's come up here. Let's say from polars.exceptions import no rows returned error. Now let's come back down here and we'll say if that happens, if you get that exception, then return none. However, if you do get something, right, then you basically want to return that thing, but we don't want to return it as a tuple, right? So we'd rather return it as a dictionary. So let's do this. Let's say this match that we got here. Right, copy that. That's the match. It's a column. What if we zip that? So we say zip, and we'll give it that, and then we'll say self.df.columns. Right, I mean, even better, we could do dict, and then we have, you can actually do this. You can do a list comprehension dictionary in Python. So you can do column value for column value in zip self.df.columns and self.df row whatever shit here that we get. Okay, what's wrong here? What's the missing parentheses? Something's wrong. Can I copy paste this? Copy. Paste. That's closed. That's closed. This is closed. There's no closing on the zip. All right, there we go. That's what we were missing. All right, perfect. There you go. So now we have a nice little dictionary with all the right things. So let's go ahead and copy this crap over here. And this is what we want to return if we do get a match, and we no longer need to do this directly in place here. We can just replace this with match. All right, perfect. Close out. Let's rerun it. Paperbot has entered the chat. Let's copy paste this, put that in there. Sometimes it does not work. Send it again. Behavior. Add papers. Found the paper. Adding the paper. Found the paper. This time there should be a match. If we hit next, what did it find? Oh, actually no, there is none because the second paper isn't there yet. Adds the second paper. What happened here? Shard ID heartbeat blocked for more than 10 seconds. Okay. I think it basically didn't like that we were pausing this. There's probably a timeout. Okay, but it did add both papers, and now we say at Paperbot, what are the papers we have so far? You see, now it's running the list behaviors paper, and there you go. All right. So we got a little something here. We got a nice little Paperbot that takes these papers, basically takes the abstract, creates a tags from it. What are the tags for this? Generation, models, text to image. Title, URL, authors, publish, tags. All right. So if we close this and we rerun it, Oh fuck, we need to save it. So after you add papers, you need to save. So whenever you hit here, add paper, we need to make sure to save the actual data frame to file. So after you add it, then come here, vstack, and then do a self.save. And let's actually make sure to log here. So let's do a log.info, saving local DB. And I think at this point we've written enough crap to actually make a push. You want to kind of push your code often. Some people say only push code when it's has like whenever you're done with specific things. So like make each of your commits kind of like semantically a single concept, but I'm more of the just constantly keep pushing kind of mentality. And then if you want to organize things into like human readable chunks, do that in the pull request, not in the actual individual commit. So we're gonna say data or pollers database. I'm gonna sync that. Okay. No file path found. Loading local DB. Let's put a log here as well. Log.info, creating new local DB. Loading existing. Existing, like that. Paperbot has entered the chat. At Paperbot, give it this one. Actually, let's give it both of them. Right? It should be getting the add paper. It's fine. Should add both of those papers. That's also fine. We can get rid of this here. Added the second paper. It told us it added both of the papers. Now let's ask it to list the papers at Paperbot. Can you show me the papers? The behavior that it's calling now is list papers. All right, let's keep going. Called that behavior. Now what else? List sources, list papers, Palm chat, GPT chat. Let me see. Let me see what else. Time since recommended, date recommended, auto generation of tags. Yeah, the problem right now is there's no real like actually, why don't we do this? Why don't we check to see if we try to add the same paper, whether it'll say that paper already exists. So if we do this and we say add Paperbot this one, it's going to try to do the add paper. That's correct. Oh, look at that. The paper was already posted. Pretty good. What else? Suggest sources, some kind of priority queue. I also need to like Discord formatting messages. I have a Discord Python bot, and it sends messages to channels. I want to make the messages more visually appealing. Can I create markdown of some sort? Let's see what Bard recommends here. The fuck? Well, that's not useful. Let's see. Discord bot pretty print or message. Send messages. Let's see if there's any examples we can find. Discord Python API. Python API. API reference for discord.py. That's the one that I'm using. API reference. Messages. On message edit, on message delete, on raw message delete, on reaction add. Called when a message has a reaction added to it. That could be potentially useful. On reaction remove. There's a bunch of weird shit here. On thread create, on raw thread create. Find. Webhook, utility function, schedule, data classes, template. What is this template? This control F message here, message reference, partial message, message flags, messageable, webhook message, messages. So this is the actual Discord message object. Embeds. Channel reference. Mentions. Attachments. Activities. Interactions. Components. A list of components in the message. Oh shit, there's a Discord button, a Discord action row, and a Discord select menu. What is a Discord action row? A component that holds up to 5 children subcomponents in a row. Let's see if Copilot knows what this is, or not Copilot, Bard. So we're going to give it the paper's sources. Here, let's copy this. Let's reset the chat. We'll say, can you modify this Discord bot Python function such that it sends a Discord.action row. Let's make sure we're using the right name here. A Discord.action row. Okay. Here is the function. Send it that function. We're going to have to craft it because here we go, where it is, list papers, GPT chat, list sources, boom. There you go. Now let's put that there, and let's hit enter, see what it gives us. Okay, so it creates an action row, adds buttons to the source list, add row component, channel.send. Okay, this might literally be crap, so let's see if this even works. Let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. It kind of looks like it's all good. Creates the action row object. It splits the sources, creates a button for each source. There's no add component here to the action row. So this could potentially be bad. Let's see what type of functions do exist for this. Action row dot an action row has a type. It has a toDict type. It has a raw construct, has a toDict. Okay, this is not looking good. There's no I think you might literally have to add it to this self.children. The children components that this holds, if any. Okay, so I think you probably need to do this. You probably need to come here. You probably need to do buttons. Then you need to go here. And then say buttons.append button, and then this action row over here needs to be down here. And you have to pass to it the buttons, I think, as a list. Yeah. For component data in data.get, components, component factory, action row payload. Action row payload should be a dictionary that has a list of components. So actually I think it should be like this. Buttons, components, all right, this .send does not have a quarg for components as far as it seems. I don't know, let's see. Loading existing local DB, so it should already have the papers that we had before. Let's make sure. So Paperbot should have entered the chat. We should be able to say Paperbot list the papers. Let's get rid of this crap here. Okay, there's the papers. That seems fine. Let's say list the sources at Paperbot. List these sources, and let's go and put a breakpoint in our sources. Let's put a breakpoint right here. All right, so it decided to use the list the source behavior, and now that it's in the list sources function or behavior is what we're calling it. We're gonna go ahead and create these things. Okay, so next. Next, 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 next. It aired out. Unexpected keyword label. Okay, so this Discord button, you can't just pass it this crap here. You need to be more specific. A button needs a custom ID, it needs a URL, and it needs a label. All of these are optional. Okay, so you need to the data, this button component payload, needs to be a dictionary. You need to pass it a URL and then a label. So let's do that. I guess this is already there. That's weird. Because really what this needs is a dictionary where these three things here are keys, like that. And let's change the way our sources are stored. So here they're stored as a string. Let's instead turn this into a dictionary. So we're going to make this a dictionary where strings map to strings. And get rid of this. Here we're going to get rid of that. We're going to make all of these strings and they're going to map to a string link. Like that. Perfect. We're going to need commas. And why don't we put types here as well? Just because we're putting them everywhere. Okay. Paperbot has entered the chat. At Paperbot, list the sources. All right. Let's get to here. Dict object has no attribute split line. Yep, it should now just be like this for... Oh, shit. It should now be for label URL in sources.values. This is how you iterate over a dictionary in Python. This will be the key, and that'll be the value. So we just need to put those in here. The robot identifies as a filing cabinet. Is this running? Oh, dictionary object has no attribute split line. Okay. We need to rerun this. Paperbot has entered the chat. List the sources. Okay. Let's keep going. Too many values to unpacked. Expected to. What? Oh, values. It's dot items. I'm fucking forgetting how to write Python. All right, so now we finally have our buttons, which is a list of button objects. And hopefully we should just be able to send this. We should just be able to create an action row of button objects. And then, okay, there you go. Button object is not subscriptable. Okay. So the problem is that this action row, you need to pass it more than just this list of crap. So data.get components that is the right key. Why don't let's get rid of the fact that this is a dictionary and let's just call it buttons. And then we'll add to this buttons list. And then here is where we'll actually create this dictionary that is the payload. I don't like this fucking pattern of like you have to send it a dictionary. Like this discord.py, whoever the fuck made that, no good. And we're going to say components. That's going to be buttons. Okay, what else do we need here? Action row child component type. Action row payload. Action row payload. button style, component type, text style, list of action row child components. Action row child components is a button component. A button component has a type style. Okay. It seems like it should be fine. The problem is that I think when you get these, let's put a breakpoint right here just so we know that it's at least getting to here. God. Breakpoint. Okay. Kill that. Save. Get rid of this breakpoint. Run it. Paperbot has entered the chat. List the sources. All right, we're here. We got a list of buttons. Oh, I think I know what the problem might be, is that this doesn't return button objects. This returns... Does this return a button object? Type 2. Oh, I think I know what these numbers are. I think these numbers are the type. So wait a second, wait a second. You might be able to do this. Type 2. And then take this whole dictionary and just append that directly in there. Like that. Getting lost in the weeds here. If you guys want to pull me out, let me know. Okay, Paperbot is here. List the sources. Okay, so we at least got past here, but now we got it broke here because channel.send got an unexpected keyword component. So I don't know if you can just send a component here. Channel.send. You see this, it's an overloaded, so there's actually multiple different functions here. Overloading is not something you usually see in Python. This is a concept usually you see in C, but basically when it's you have the same name of the function, but it has a bunch of different arguments and keyword arguments. And C is smart enough to like know which one you want, which overloaded function you want based on the things that you're providing it, but Python is not like that. I assume this is either some kind of extra crap that they added specifically for this. Yeah, decorator for overloading. So this is not even like some basic Python thing. It's like their own specific implementation of that, which makes it even more annoying. With the content given, the content of the message embeds a list of embeds, nonce allowed messages. How do I send components? Select menu, app command, how to send components object over Discord Python message. Add button components to a message. Great. This is exactly what someone was trying to tell me. Context.send components equals components. Allows the use of buttons and drop downs. The fuck is this? Interaction type? Dude, what? Discord components, change presence. Is this even real? Is this type interaction type channel message with source? What the fuck is that? Okay, let's see. Yeah, that doesn't even, it's not even fucking real. Type equals Discord dot message type. Let's see what other message types there are. You have default, recipient add, recipient remove, channel, blah, 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 premium, follow. We want, what do we call it? We want something that has components. I don't see anything that has components here. Let's see if we can find on board. That channel.send call, let's make this bigger so you guys can see, is incorrect. There doesn't appear to be a components quarg in that function. How do I send components with the Discord .py module? If you're using, you will need to use the embeds keyword argument instead. Okay, is that true? Did Bard lie to us again? Let's see. Is this fucking real? Embeds equals action row. Let's put a breakpoint right here just so we can like mess around. Kill it, restart it, come back here. Paperbot should enter the chat. Send it the same message we've been sending it, list the sources. All right, we're here. The action row is correct. You have a bunch of component objects. Now let's see if we can even send this, or if it's going to error out. Nope, it's going to error out. Well, actually, interestingly, it didn't error out. It actually just gave us like a weird timeout error. Okay, actually, this might even be good. Let's keep going. Nothing happened, but it didn't die. Let's see. Let's see if we send it again. Okay, nothing is happening. Let's put a print statement here, or a log statement here. Log.info. Say printing the or giving or listing the sources. Sorry, listing the sources. Let's kill this. Let's get rid of all this crap here. Just sometimes it's worth resetting these. Should be Paperbot has entered the chat. There he is. Or it is. I don't think Paperbot has a bad request. Invalid form bodies. Embeds.0.description. Okay, so we need a field called description in the embeds. Embed. Here we go. This is what the embed object represents, a Discord embed. Description. What the fuck is an embed? First of all. What is this embed type? Rich image video article link. Oh shit, okay. Yeah. Embed image, embed video, embed thumbnail, embed field, embed link. We probably want embed footer. Probably just want embed provider, to be honest. But I don't want to have to create this object. This is a very annoyingly long, big object to create. Why can't I just pass the button component? Stickers, embeds, files, mentions, reference, nonce, suppress embeds. Suppress embeds. You see how this is the different overloaded version. So this version has embed as a single embedding. This one has embed as a single embed. And this one here, which is the one that we're using, has a sequence of embeds, which is going to be the one that we use. But files, embeds, suppress embeds. I think we're going to have to create these embed objects. Damn, you need to pass all this crap, which is annoying. Or actually, maybe not. Look at this. You only need the title, or you only need the type. But all these other ones are optional. So actually, let's just do URL and title. So let's get rid of this crap here. Let's just comment it out. Let's not get rid of it entirely. We'll put it here. Then let's make a list of embeds. This is what we're gonna end up sending here. The embeds. We don't need this crap anymore. But we do need to say embeds.append, and then we're gonna create an object here. We're gonna create a discord.embed object. This discord.embed object, we need the title, which is going to be the label, and then we need the URL, which is going to be the URL, and I think everything else we can just not provide, and it should be fine. All right, let's run this. Paperbot should enter the chat. Let's copy that. Let's send that. Listing the sources. There we go. Look at that, guys. We got ourselves the link. So now you can list the sources and you can click on these links and it'll take you to those websites. Perfect. It would have been nice if we could get these to be on the same row somehow. But hey, I'm okay with that. let's also do a message. And here, let's say, here are some sources for papers. All right, perfect. And now that we know how to do these embeds, I think we can actually do the same thing, but for whenever we list the papers, right? So here, what we're doing is we're just sending this like very poorly formatted kind of like data frame, but we can turn these into an embed and then send the embed instead, right? So when we list papers here, we're sending the data frame in string form, but really what we want is we want this to be a yield, right? I don't think iter rows exists. Let's do this. In pandas, or in polars, sorry, how do you iterate through the rows? Iter rows. Actually, it does exist. It's called iter underscore rows. And it returns named equals true. Yeah, let's add that named equals true. So it's called iter underscore rows, and then we want named equals true. So this should return dictionaries. They should be string. That is correct. This is going to return a dict string any. So actually, let's match that. We don't have this type, so let's go up here and get it. From typing, import type any. The any is kind of the most useless type because it literally means anything. But okay. So list sources does this crap, and then whenever you list papers, we're going to say for paper in db list papers, this paper is going to be a paper dict. So why don't we go ahead and say that, and then let's go ahead and construct this list of embeddings that embeds. Let's get rid of this comment. This comment is now incorrect. This comment is also incorrect. So we're going to say embeds equals that. The any type is good for feeling less guilty about your linting sins. Yeah. It makes me feel like I'm writing in a real big boy language, like C, real typed language, rather than just Python, but you know. Okay. So we embed, we are adding the title, the URL, and the description. I don't really want the description. Why don't we add the tags, I guess? Let's do the tags for now. And once we have all of these, then we can send it. Listing the papers. Here are some, actually I don't even need that. Let's save and let's run it. Okay. So Paperbot has entered the chat at Paperbot. What are the paper sources? Here are some sources. All right. At Paperbot, what are the current papers? Ha! Look at that. All right. And now I guess you could go on to papers, and let's say I had a new paper. Let's say I went up here and I wanted to do this paper. And I wanted to come over to Paperbot and I say, at Paperbot, what about this paper? At Paperbot. What about this paper? Paperbot. Hello, Paperbot. Paperbot. What is going on, Paperbot? Why are you upset, Paperbot? Okay, it added the paper. List the papers. And there you go. Now it's there. Perfect. So actually, now what do we want to do? So let's save this. Let's go Control-Shift-G to open up this. We don't actually want this CSV here, so let's go into our git ignore and add CSV in here. So the git ignore tells Git which files you don't want to pay attention to. So for example, let's say CSV files. And once you do that, and you hit save, you can see that now when you actually go to commit, it's no longer there. So we got all that. What are we going to say? We're going to say listing papers via embeds. It's kind of annoying that Discord not called that object embeds, because that's that's what we called it. And then a little hotkey here, Control-KW, will close all the things. Sometimes it gets out of control and you open too many tabs and you want to kind of close some of these tabs. So that's what that does. All right. So now we have the ability to add papers. We have the ability to chat. We have the ability to list the papers. And we have checking that makes sure that the papers don't get double added. And then we also have automatic creation of these tags from the abstract of the paper. So I think one thing we could do is we could what else do we want to add here? Do we want to limit the number of papers that it can list? What else? Do you guys have any ideas about what we want to add? Let me go back to my list of shit that we could do. Auto-generate tags, we did that. Add a column for the person who recommended the paper, the date it was recommended, and the time since the paper was posted. Okay, let's do that. All right, so let's open up our run.py. Let's add a new column into our database schema. We're going to call it suggester, I guess. Suggester, PDF UT8. Other popular papers from these authors. Ooh. That's a good idea, Josh, but that's kind of intense. We're going to have to look to see if Archive gives us that. So from Archive, let's see if the Archive API has some notion of that. So this is actually the schema for the Archive database itself, right? So we're asking the Archive API to give us this paper object, which it calls an archive.result, and actually this is what that contains. So it contains author, summary, comment, journal ref, DOI, categories, links, PDF URL, raw. So it kind of, I guess, already has a bunch of tags, so maybe we didn't necessarily need to do that. But this author object, a light inner class for representing a result's authors. Okay, so this is the issue. Is I don't know. I was hoping that this author would allow us to search for other things that also have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this author object, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to do Control-Shift-F, and that's going to try to find all the files. And I'm going to do advanced things, and I'm going to limit the search in here. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to take this path here. Can I copy this path? copy path, and I'm going to say, okay, find any mention of this author anywhere within this archive package. And what I'm trying to find here is I'm trying to see if there's some kind of function that takes an author object and returns a list of paper IDs. Author name, author, result.author, constructs an author, feed parse, from feed author. Self.authors? No. Let's see. Archive Python API list papers by author. Archives API user manual. Fetching results. You can archive.search, print the title of the paper with the ID. Can you archive.search with a name? Okay, so you can do an archive.search with the name, actually. Not this one. We want, where is the archive.search? Where is archive.search call? I think we put it up here in a little helper function. Find papers, here we go, boom. Archive.search. Archive.search. Query, max results. Query, ID list. Are we gonna have to fucking make a SQL query for this? Yeah, we're probably gonna have to make a fucking SQL query. Archive Python API query author. Query something like author name. Yeah, here you go. With parameter search query equals all electron. Let's see if we can find author. Nope. Archive API author. Okay, actually, you know what the fastest way to figure this out is going to be? Is just going to be literally to do this in the Python terminal here. So let's do import archive. Archive dot search, and let's say query equals author Hugo Ponti. Hugo, see that. And then what does this return? Search, and then search dot results. So dot results. Let's say A for A in archive search dot results. We're gonna do the first 5 of them. The generator object is not subscriptable. All right, we'll just do that. Empty. What about author Hugo Ponti? Generator object is not subscriptable. We need to get rid of this, sorry. Oh, I think it's author with a lowercase. Let's try that. Let's try author Hugo, lowercase. Empty, still empty, okay. Well, what is it here? So let's actually find, we know for a fact that this author is here, so let's copy this. Wu Jihao. It's not finding it. It's down there somewhere. It's okay. So let's go back to the actual API reference here. Let's see if we can just control F author. Query, search query, all. Where's author? ¿Dónde está author? It seems like you can just do this. Let's try it out on this function here. Let's do Ponte Hugo. Results, title, search query, updated, blah, blah, blah. Look at appendix 5.1. Okay, so somewhere here in appendix. What do you mean by appendix 5.1? It's AU question mark. Okay. Let's try it. AU. Boom! Dude, thanks, Matthias. This is pretty awesome, dude. Like, sometimes I watch these programming streams and, like, the hive mind of the stream, like, is more intelligent than any individual person, so I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being my hive mind. Okay, so it seems like this returned a bunch of crap. It returned, what are these? These are result objects. These are all paper objects. Okay, perfect. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to say that, like, there's a behavior called find, like, do we want the related papers to be a property of the individual row? Do we want it to be instead its own kind of behavior where you put in the name of a researcher and it tells you all their papers? What do we want? What do we want here? Exit. Okay. So we have some behaviors here. List papers, get papers. Add paper, list papers, list sources. What if we do this? What do we do? Async def author related works or something like that. Pass all that, and then here's where we're actually going to do this part right here. Here's where we're actually going to get tricky. We're going to format this query using ChatGPT. So here, let's say formatted name, and then we'll put that there. Formatted name. And then we'll say you are paper bot. You format, or you extract and format the author name in a message. Respond in a message. Do not explain, only return the name in the format last, comma, first. Example, I am interested in John Smith. Should, let's do that. Example equals that, and then example return response equals Smith John. Okay. Example user or example message. And then for this, so for result in archive search. So do this whole embedding bullshit again. Except this time we're going to be doing it from this. And we're going to append the, we're going to append the title. Result.title. Result here is going to be a paper object. I think you should be able to do that. Paper. Archive. No, I don't know if you can do that. But you can do this. Result.pdf URL. Let's get rid of this. Here are the other papers by author, and let's pass in the modified author name here, which should be the formatted name. And why doesn't it like this? I guess it just doesn't like it because it's too long. Let's go ahead and add author-related works as a behavior to our chatbot. So we have list sources, list papers. Let's do that. Author-related works equals author-related works. And at some point, I feel like we're going to have so many behaviors, it's going to start getting confused. But hopefully that point is not for a second here. So let's format our document. Save. Run this. Paperbot has entered the chat. Let's just list the papers, make sure it's working correctly. All right. At Paperbot. Can you find me the related works for Hugo Ponte? Okay, we need to put a breakpoint. I don't even know if it did the right thing. On message behavior equals here. Let's put a breakpoint right there. Say at Paperbot. Tell me more about the author, Hugo Ponte. Okay. Behavior it chose is I'm sorry, but I'm not capable of accessing the internet or any external databases. Can we call this something else? Author list author. What do we call it that? See, this is another weird thing, is that like in the future when you have more and more LLMs that are basically calling these functions, right, these APIs, and they're basically doing it like a tool, you're going to have to name these functions something that makes it easy for an LLM to understand what it is, right? Where before, when you were creating APIs, you were creating them with the intention that a human is going to look at this API. A human's going to be the person that's looking at this and being like, okay, well, the dataframe.interpolate function has these quarks, blah, blah, blah. But I think in the future, we're going to have to design APIs, and in a way that the LLM can understand what the fuck this function does by the string. So I could see a world where the name of the functions starts to become more and more long in order to provide more and more context for the LLM. At paper bot, tell me more about the author Tim Detmers. Dude, it really cannot do that. All right, let's close out of that. Let's say author list. Need to run it again. Sorry. Okay, I finally got the list author behavior. And going here, search object is not iterable. The problem is that we need to, it's not, where is it? Up here? Line 305. Right here. It should be dot results. Is it? Let me make sure. Search dot results. Actually, we can simplify this. Let's do this. Save ourselves a line of code. Kill it. Rerun it. Behavior author list. Okay, didn't find anything for that. No good. You see how it added a dot at the end of that? Maybe that's the problem. Running behavior list author, stopping generation. Let's see. At paperbot, author list, Hugo Ponti. List author, that's correct. Here are other papers by the author, Ponti Hugo dot. I don't like how it's saying dot. Why is it getting rid of, fuck this dot. Dude, where is that coming from? Author. You see? Look at that. It's because in the example that we gave it, it added this little dot, which is not what we want. Okay. Okay, let's kill this. Let's rerun it. Imagine a world where names and documentation are actually good. Yeah, I think it might even be weirder. It might just become not human readable in any shape or form, which might be the problem. Okay. I mean, that is right. I don't have a ton of papers. Let's put someone that we definitely have papers for. Let's go into papers. Let's go to this Soundstorm paper. Get one of the authors there, see if we can find it. This guy here. Ooh. Can we deal with special characters? Let's get rid of this. Huh. run it again. Paperbot is here. Dude, why does this happen? Why does it not Paperbot author list Zalan Borsos? I don't understand. I don't know if this is Discord. I don't know if it's just something weird happening here. I don't know if it like times out. There's some kind of weird situation where sometimes it doesn't actually do anything. App Paperbot author list for Zalan Borsos. Here are other papers. Got empty results. Stopping generation. Let's make sure that this works. Archive. Oh, I think I know what might be going on wrong here. Let's make sure we go to Control F author. Search. Copy that. Put it here. Import archive. Archive.search. Put in Ponte, Hugo. It's looking for a variable because it's an F string, but that's not what we want. We actually want this. Let's do A for A in. Or actually even better than that, let's actually make this formatted name. Formatted name. Ponte Hugo. Then we'll do A for A in empty. What about Borsos? Zalan. Okay, let's try a name that does not have fucking exclamation or weird characters. Let's do this. Matt Sharif. So Sharif Matt. Okay, something's going on here. Oh, it's Sharifi. What? Unicode final boss. Is it just that it's the opposite way? Is it like this? Is it Matt, comma Sharifi? Jesus Christ, dude. Hugo, comma Ponte. Yeah, those are my papers. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the problem was that we did it with a Chinese name and we got confused because we thought the last name was the first name, but it's not. It should be like this. John, comma Smith, like that. Okay. Kill it, so kill that. Let's make sure to kill this Python process here. Clear to clear it out. Come back here, save. Run it. Where's Paperbot? Paperbot has entered the chat. Let's do at Paperbot. Author list for Hugo Ponte. What? Oh, we need to do this. First, last. You are Paperbot. You extract and format the author name. Do not explain. Only return one name in the format first comma last. I am interested in the work of John Smith. John comma Smith. Okay. Let's see if we finally got it the billionth time. At Paperbot author list for Hugo Ponti. Look at that. These are my papers, dog. I have some other shittier papers that are much older, but these are the 2 that I did when I was working at Brain. Pretty good. Look at that, dude. This is fucking sick. Let's see if it works with the Zalan Borsos, because this guy's name has a thing in it, or has a accent in it. List author for Zalan Borsos. Let's get rid of this fucking breakpoint here. No. What the fuck? Embeds has a maximum of 10 elements, so you're only allowed to do 10. Okay, so whenever you do here, the embeds, you have to make sure that embeds is up until 10. Like that. So it's only the first 10. There you go. Dude, this is sick. All right, how much time are we at right now? We are at, holy shit, this stream is 3 hours? Or am I just reading this wrong? .5 hours, okay. We got a little bit more time, so let's go ahead and do one last thing. What do we want to do? We want to, first of all, let's save this. So let's close out of that. Save, open up Control-Shift-G to open up the commit here. We'll hit the plus. We'll say related author works. And we'll commit that. Okay. I kind of, one thing that I don't like is like how simple this is. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just literally like the title with a link on it. Like I feel like it'd be cooler if it had a little bit more to it, right? So maybe we should here make a summary. So I think we had a function here where we basically, yeah, you are the prompt and create the tags. So let's make a function, and we're going to call it, this is just going to be a little helpful function. We're going to call it summarize paper, and it's going to get a paper object, and then we're going to use GPT to summarize it. So we're basically going to do this. I'm going to put this here, and we're going to say summary. And then we're going to tell GPT, we're going to say, here's the paper.summary, and then we're going to say, you are Paperbot, summarize this abstract in one sentence. Do not explain, only provide the one sentence summary. Here is the abstract for the paper, and then we give it the paper, and then it returns this summary. And this summarized paper, let's go ahead and add a new column. Let's not add a new column because then we're not going to be able to load our stuff. But here, when we list the paper sources, list author here. Let's do description, and let's do summarize paper of result.summary. So let's run that. So we run that. It's doing its little thing. Paperbot has entered the chat. Let's go ahead and copy paste this exact same call that we made here. It's thinking. Or no, it's not doing anything. Okay, let's try it. Paperbot, list author for Salon Borsos. String object has no attribute summary. Okay, I think the where is it? List papers, list sources, list author, result.title, result.summary. It might not be called paper.summary. That is correct. Oh, I see what the problem is that summarized paper does not get a string. It should actually get the paper object itself. So let's do that. Got first page, 15 of infinite results available. We'll do something, dude. At Paperbot, list author, Salon Borsos. What is it stuck on? OpenAI error, rate limit error. All right, well, why don't we do max papers per author. I don't like having this as a fucking just global thing, but let's do that, and let's do 3, and let's do enumerate. And then if max I is greater than or equal to break. And let's make sure that GPT is not using GPT-4, GPT 3.5 Turbo. That's correct. That's totally fine. Let's do this. Oh shit, look at that. So we have a paper with the link, and then we also have a little one-sentence summary provided by GPT. Are these... So here's the problem, though, is that this summary is provided by GPT 3.5, which is kind of the stupid GPT, right? Ideally, and this is something that we saw in the Frugal GPT paper, is that ideally I would change this, right? Is that I would use GPT-4 to do the summarizations, but then I would use GPT 3.5 to do stuff like the formatting, right? Or creating the tags or something like that. So depending on whether the behavior is kind of a little bit intense or involved, I would use the more slow and the more expensive GPT-4 API. But for things like string formatting like this, where I basically just want it to take whatever string is in the message and then format it into this thing, I could probably use GPT 3.5. So that should be easy to do. All I got to do is come here into the actual summary, and then here, I think model. Yeah, model. Let's do GPT-4. I don't even know if I have the 4 API access, to be honest. Let's actually see this. I might not have it yet. Oh, this isn't even running. Okay, let's run it. It just takes so long. There you go. And I do have it, which is nice. Okay, so it used GPT 3.5 to select the right behavior. It selected the list author behavior. Then it used GPT 3.5 to format and extract the name out of this command. Then it used the archive API to search the archive database by this author. Then we limit that to the first 3 hits. I don't know what the order is for the archive API. I don't know what order this is. It's probably chronological or something like that. But there's probably a way to modify the query so that it sorts it by the, I don't know, like number of citations. That would probably be more useful. But once you have the list coming back from the archive API, we ask ChatGPT, and this time GPT-4, to summarize it for us, given the abstract in 1 sentence. And then we create these Discord embed objects, which are basically, I think, these little like whatever the fuck these are, these little like little nub looking things. And there we go. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's a nice one. Little hot tip here is whenever you're doing programming, I think an important thing just for your mental sanity is like leave when you get to a point that you have a nice little thing, right? So like any programming project is a series of basically milestones that you get to, and if you quit in between 2 milestones, it's very discouraging, right? You're trying to find some bug and you can't find it, and then it just you have to leave, you go eat, and then you feel terrible about it. So one thing that I've found in my life is that it's better if you just like you get to a point like this where we just got a little behavior, it works, save it, commit it, and then walk away, because then you're gonna want to come back to this project, because the kind of last thing that you remember about this project that your monkey brain remembers is that you got the little dopamine hit of actually getting something done. So I'm going to take my own advice. I'm going to commit this here. We have a working author list, and we're going to end it there. So yeah, if you guys are interested in this code, go ahead and use it. I have it here in my repo. You can go onto Hoopo, my GitHub, and then I think it's called Paperbot. So feel free to use it, copy paste whatever you want. You know, if you guys want to make cool ChatGPT enabled bots, feel free to use this. If not, happy Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Hope that was useful. Hope that was entertaining. And see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what paper I'll pick, but I'll scroll through the recommendations and I'll pick one. See you guys later.